too hard on yourself. So welcome, folks. We're going to get started. Can anybody tell me what this is?
Upside down.
Man, I did it again. This is the third time this year that it's been upside down. Yeah. Dollar, paper. It's not what it used to be worth, right, guys? Not even close. I don't look at this as a dollar. This is your retirement nest egg. All of it. Everything that you have saved, done without for 30, 40, some of you 50 years to get to this point in your life. Your golden years. Okay? So I look at this and I say, hey, how do we get the maximum out of your retirement nest egg? As you can see, I don't call it a portfolio, because if you guys have that in your head, I need a paradigm shift from you guys. This is your savings account at this point. You guys are too close to retirement to be at risk. So I look at this and I say, wait, there's a little problem here. Because if we're looking at the future and the truth, how many here believe that taxes are going to go down in the future? Raise your hand. How many think taxes are going to stay the same in the future? Raise your hand. How many think taxes are going to go up in the future? Raise your hand. Okay. It's at risk. 92% of you in here have a deferred retirement plan, a 401k, IRA, SEP, simple. Okay? We all have a pension here, but we don't think we do. We have the greatest pension ever created. I don't care what party says, That's your Social Security income. That is a pension. That is your personal pension. But again, 80% of you in here are going to pay taxes on 50 to 85% of your Social Security benefit. Right? And then you got your 30% on your retirement account. It's at risk. Right? Then we've been talking about inflation for the last few years. Right? Inflation is rotting your retirement as well. The great thing about Social Security, there's a provision in place to combat inflation. And it's a phenomenal provision, and I'm going to share that with you. Okay? But again, because of that provision, it jacks up your taxes as well. Inflation is taking a piece, right? Can anybody tell me what the number one expense you guys are going to have in retirement? Insurance, medical, health care. And that goes up at 3 times the rate of inflation. Okay, that's taking a piece of your retirement. Said for some of us in here, our kids are moving back in with us. Say it ain't so. That leaves you this little piece here. This piece has to last you 20, 25. Some of us in this room, about 10% of us are going to live 35 years into retirement. I'm going to show you the most important part of your retirement. You guys don't think it is? I don't care if you've got $6 or $7 million in your account. Social Security is the most important component to your retirement. And the reason being, it's a guaranteed source of income. Okay? I'm going to show you how to put yourself in the best position to optimally take care of Social Security. Can anyone tell me what the average Social Security benefit is nationwide? Monthly. Anyone?
2,400.
Who was that? Somebody said 2,400?
Me.
Is there a Tony and a Teresa here? Where's Tony and Teresa?
Right here.
That's freedom.
Okay, thanks.
Can anybody tell me what the average family leaves on the table for Social Security for filing suboptimal? Anyway, gather a guess. It's in the tens of thousands. Can anybody gather a guess?
What was the question?
How much is left on the table for filing wrong? We'll get to those numbers here shortly. She said 120,000. So for those of you who got that, that's a movie. Please watch that movie. That's a gift from us to you guys. Okay? So let's get started. Before we get into the class, again, folks, it's very important for you guys to understand. You're not going to get sold anything, so relax. This is a class. Okay? I don't sell anything to you guys here. Okay? That's just not my job. So let's start at the beginning. I want to kind of share why I love what I do. It started in 1999. I used to work at Sheridan Shoes. Who remembers Sheridan Shoes? Yeah. It was fun going into Sheridan Shoes. It was an experience, right? I had been there 9 years, and then a shock to my system. They decided to close. I'd been there 9 years. The company's been around for almost 100 years at that point. I was stuck. I started a new family, so I needed income to pay my bills. Fortunately for me, I built a lot of relationships, so I got a job at an insurance agency. For me, that was temporary, right? It wasn't part of the long-term plan, so I'm sitting there, okay, at some point, I'm going to get a new job. But a funny thing happened. I really enjoyed what I was doing, guys. I enjoyed connecting with clients. I enjoyed helping them protect their future. And I enjoyed it so much, 4 months later, I started my own insurance agency. I really didn't realize how much I enjoyed what I did until I got a call from a young lady, Tracy. I had signed her mom up for insurance and her mom had passed away. And she's like, Israel, can you help me? You know, my mom passed away, I don't want to deal with this. The feeling that you get when you're able to take that death benefit to a family at their worst time, when they lost someone, there's no other feeling in the world. It's kind of bittersweet, but you know you've done your job. In the time since that has happened, I have delivered hundreds of checks, guys. Hundreds. And again, I knew I loved what I was doing, but that really emphasized it. The day after I delivered that check was September 11th. Airplane crashed into the Twin Towers. We don't have to relive that, but the financial burden that it brought on families as well, right? It hurt my family as well. My mom and my dad, they were concerned about their retirement. My grandmother was concerned about her retirement. So I knew there had to be a better way. So I started doing some research and I was like, look, I started finding options for my clients to put them in a better situation when an unprecedented event happened like that, okay? As I went along, I was like, wow, I started helping families and families and families. And I'm incredibly proud. I've helped over 1,200 families position themselves in a way where when they get to retirement, they have a sense of peace. So, and a job, an industry that I fell into 22 years ago by happenstance has turned into one of the most wonderful gifts in my life. My mission is to protect the income that you need in retirement so you can maximize the income for the things that you want in retirement. There's a little tagline there. That's what I live for. And folks, Social Security is a huge component to that mission. $100,000, $110,000 is left on the table by folks filing suboptimally. I'm going to show you 2 case studies just from our last workshop. The money is staggering on how folks file wrong. I'm here to help you guys tonight not to make those mistakes. We are going to talk about Social Security, and I'm going to hammer you guys on Social Security, okay? So everybody get comfortable, start taking notes, and let's get started. So everybody's got a folder, correct? Everybody take this guy out, the response form, okay? This is incredibly critical for us as a company and for AFES. AFES is a non-for-profit, these guys here. Right? I'm one of the 350 instructors. Okay? I have my own practice. Okay? But because I'm so versed in Social Security, these guys brought me on and we put on these events. Okay? Again, non-for-profit, but to rent the room, to send out the postcards, to put the ads, it costs money. So they just need a count of folks, right? So at the end of the event, if you guys please, can you guys turn this in? And let me tell you why. There's information in the middle that you guys can fill out for future events on some of the things that you want to see, right? And as we go along, we're going to take 4 breaks. If you guys can see there, is maximizing Social Security a major concern, minor concern, or no concern at all? After every section, I want you guys to check that in, okay? So these are the typical numbers. Nationwide, about 60% of you folks turn this in. In my class, it's about 80%. My last 2 classes, we had 90%. I want to get to 100%, guys. So can you guys promise me that you'll turn this in? Can I get a yes?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll turn this in at the end, okay? So let's get started, folks. As I said, Adult Financial Education Services is a not-for-profit. We put on events maximizing Social Security, retirement, and retirement for ladies, okay? In this class, you're going to learn what you need to know to help get the most out of your benefit. Okay, there's some disclaimers there. All right, that's me. So course objectives. How Social Security can be influenced by 6 fundamental financial planning considerations. The complexities of the Social Security system and why it's crucial to make the right claiming decisions. The role Social Security benefits can play in your overall retirement and the importance of working to get the most out of your benefit. Okay? Potential monetary consequences and benefits of claiming early versus later. This is a big one, folks. In a perfect world, I'm going to show you, ideally, it's best to wait until 70, and you'll see why. Right? But there's some math involved, so it doesn't work for everyone. But ideally, it's best to wait till 70. Okay? Key spousal decisions and benefits surrounding marriage, divorce, restricted application, and death. How Social Security is structured to help combat inflation, but can potentially add to your tax liabilities in retirement. This is a big provision in there. All right. So, the 6 fundamental financial planning considerations: longevity, liquidity, inflation, market, mortality, and taxes. I want to touch on longevity, okay? That's the big one. That's a double risk, right? Because if we live longer, right, we're more susceptible to market losses, right? Or more taxes, more inflation, right? If we live longer, we'll have issues with liquidity if we get sick more than once, okay? So we are living longer. The average male who made it to 65 in 2022 has a 95% chance of living 19 years. The average female who hit 65 in 2022 has a 95% chance of living 22 years. Sorry guys, they're living longer than us. Okay? So again, we are all living longer. All right? The potential impact of maximizing Social Security. All right, there's that number. 1827. You were close. You were close. Okay? Now that's the average nationwide. In this class here, the average is about $2,600 bucks. Okay? So we're going to do some math here so you guys can kind of see why I love Social Security, and you guys will too. Okay? So let's say the average monthly benefit at 66 is $1,827. We do the math for 12 months. Okay? So that's $21,924 in a year. Right? So if we're looking at a lady, that's 22 years. You're looking at $482,328. That is guaranteed money, guys. Okay? Then let's take at the husband. If he's living the 19 years, that's $416,000. If you do the math, combined, that's nearly $900,000. Social Security doesn't feel so bad now, right? It didn't feel so good when we were paying into it, but you see how this benefit is going to pay out in the long run. In here, we've done the math. You guys are about at $1.5 million as a couple in lifetime benefits, right? If you live only those 22 and 19 years, okay? Let's remember, you guys are going to live longer, okay? Those are based on averages, okay? Now, there's that number, the potential cost of planning mistakes. $3.4 trillion were lost, about $110,000 per household, filing suboptimally. Let that sink in. Okay? I'm going to show you 2 case studies that I had in particular that after just talking to me for about 15, 20 minutes, we saved these ladies an enormous amount of money. Okay? All right, Social Security and your retirement income. In 2022, about 66 million Americans received $1 trillion in Social Security benefits. When Social Security was enacted by FDR, they paid out at age 65. The average life expectancy of an adult was 62. They weren't planning on paying out, guys. Okay, now we got 66 million. Next year, they're expecting 72 million. Okay, that's $1 trillion. That is a lot of money. On average, Social Security represents about 30% of a retiree's income. Okay, in these classes, you guys have done a better job. It's probably a little bit less, more like 25%. Okay, so retirement income. Income for the things that you need in retirement. In a perfect world, you'll have these basic necessities covered, right? Shelter, food, clothing. Medical's a tough one, but transportation. Hopefully we all have our homes paid off when we do retire. Okay? That medical is tricky, but again, if you structure Social Security correctly, you should be able to cover these basic necessities. Okay? But retirement isn't about basic necessities, right? These are your golden years, guys. This is the best time of your life. You know, you spent 30, 40, 50 years saving for this time. You should be able to enjoy yourselves, right? Enjoy the things that you want. This is why we are firm believers in protecting the income that you need in retirement so you can maximize the income for the things that you want in retirement, right? Travel, second home, education, hobbies, membership, hanging out with your grandkids, your great-grandkids, right? This is the time that you guys have worked so hard for and risked so much. So let's make sure we file Social Security correctly, right? So that all the other assets that you guys have, you can use for the needs, for the wants in your retirement. Okay, we've gone through this, right? These are the risks in retirement. The great thing about Social Security, it's not impacted by any of these. Think about that, guys. So you're going to pay some taxes on it, okay? Right? It's not tied to the market, right? There's a provision in there for inflation. You're liquid because you have access to that cash every year, right? And the longer you live, the more you make on Social Security, right? Your personal pension here. That's why Social Security is amazing, okay? So again, very, very important. Social Security is your personal pension. We have to look at Social Security that way so we can make sure that we file correctly. Okay, what are the other sources? All right, some of us in here have pensions, very few. You've got your 401ks, IRAs, and your investment portfolio, real estate, annuity products some people have, and Social Security. There's only 3 up there that are guaranteed. Your pension, right, your Social Security, and your annuity product. So very, very important to take a look at a holistic approach, comprehensive at your entire retirement strategy. All right, we've gone through this. All right, protecting the income that you need in retirement for the things that you want in retirement so you can maximizing. All right, so our agenda today, we're going to start taking notes. Planning challenges, important definitions, benefit calculations, and key changes. 5 common decision scenarios. Cost of living adjustments, that's for inflation. Tax benefits, handling a benefits claim, and strategies to help maximize your benefit. So again, folks, very, very important that response form, everyone who turns it in, I've got a 16-page overview of this PowerPoint presentation. And if you turn it in, I'll email that to you. Okay? So let's make sure we get it. Okay? All right, so let's jump right in. All right. A couple faces up to 9,000 possible claiming combinations. Let that sink in. Why? Why? It is. Social Security Administration cannot coordinate with outside assets. All right? Social Security Administration is prohibited from giving advice to consumers and professionals. Let's think about that one for a second. Do we want them helping us? Do we want them helping us? No. Okay. Yeah, that's all they tell you guys. I don't know if you guys have called these folks. I've been on 3-way calls with some folks, and it's just no, that's just not true. And those are recorded calls. Right? Rules and laws continue to change year after year. There are several key changes made for 2023. Okay, so I'm going to get on my soapbox here. Social Security is going nowhere, guys. I don't care what these politicians are saying. There's a few out there that are saying, hey, let's push it to 70, 72 to be full retirement age. It's not going anywhere. If there's a particular party that does major cuts, that particular party will never be put in office because we are the biggest voting bloc in this country. Okay? Plain and simple. We are the voters, right? So it's not going anywhere. However, a big however, there are some major, major changes happening. Everybody write this down. Olivia S. Mitchell. David Babel, B-A-B-B-E-L. B-B-E-L. David Babel has passed away, but look him up. Ted Benna. Does anyone know who Ted Benna is? He's the godfather of the 401k. Okay? Look him up as well. Okay? There's a reason why I want you guys to look them up. There's a lot of information out there. Olivia S. Mitchell is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant lady. Okay? She has consulted all these administrations. I believe initially the Reagan administration, but for sure Papa Bush on down. And she has given some great counsel on how to fix Social Security. And these guys take her information and do nothing with it. Every single administration. I don't care what party it is. She's got some great insight into understanding Social Security. Okay? So look these folks up. It'll help you in your thought process and understanding Social Security. Okay? David Babel, he's an economist from the Wharton School of Business. Look him up. He'll share some of the strategies that he used in his retirement. Okay? All right. But again, major changes are afoot. I'm going to show you one big one. Okay? All right. Here's another economist. Social Security is about as complicated a fiscal system as is humanly possible to design. That's an economist saying that. Okay? All right. Here we go. This is the big one. Primary insurance amount, guys. That's your PIA. That's a payment a person would get if he or she elects to begin receiving retirement benefits at the normal age. That is your baseline number. That is where all the math is done. And I'm going to show you math either way. Okay? Your primary insurance amount. So if you were to call or sign into your account, hopefully you guys already started your account, that's the number they're going to give you. They're going to say your PIA at full retirement age is X. Okay? All right. So cost of living adjustment. This is that provision I told you guys about, right? Social Security's general benefit adjustments are based on increasing the cost of living, based on the consumer price index. Okay? So every single year, the Social Security Administration takes a look at inflation. They base it on consumer price, CPIW, which is urban worker. There's another formula called CPIE, which is consumer price index elderly. They should be using that metric instead because that calculates your healthcare cost, but they use W. I think they're going to change it for next year. So, the COLA adjustment for next year came out last week. It's 3.2%. Does anybody know what it was last year? 8.7% last year. Woo! So let me give you an example. So let's say you wanted to retire in 2021 and file for your Social Security, but you had some time left. You're at full retirement, right? But you had a couple years left. And you're like, no, I'll wait a year. Had you waited that year, you would have got that 8.7% bump for this year. Think about that, guys. That's just for COLA. I'm going to show you how those numbers are even better. Okay? So very, very important. So 3.2 now. They say that inflation has gone down substantially. On average, it's about 2% per year, 1.8 to 2. Okay? I checked. I'm a math and science guy, guys. I do all the math. It's all about math for me. Math. The number should be about 5.6 based on all the consumer price indexes. But again, at least it's 3.2 and instead of that 1.8 that they usually get. Okay? So, all right. COLA, cost of living adjustment. All right, guys. Here we go. This is the second phrase that you guys need to know. Full retirement age, your FRA. That's the age at which a person may first become entitled to the full or unreduced retirement benefit. That's where you get your PIA from at that age. Okay? So if you're a person born in 37 or before, your FRA is 65. There may be one or two of you in here. Okay. The person's born from 1943 to 59, your FRA is 66, full retirement age. And those of us born after 1960 or after, it's 67. Again, there are some politicians trying to make everyone's FRA 70. So pay attention to that, guys, in the news, okay? I think you guys, this group here would be grandfathered in for about 3 years because they wouldn't be able to change it that instantly, so it would be about 3 years before they change it. But again, major changes are happening, okay? So let's do it. Your Social Security benefits are based on your lifetime earnings. In the past, remember we used to get that in the mail and say, hey, and it would show all your jobs. I got one years ago. I had a little part-time job at Burger King. I was like, ooh, that's still on there? That's odd. No, I didn't make any money. I was a high school kid. Right? So to calculate your PIA benefit, the Social Security Administration will index your earnings for inflation. That's nice of them. Your PIA benefit is based on the highest 35 years of index earnings, so it's typically the last years of your life. So if you've gotten your PIA years ago, a couple years ago, it'll probably be bumped up based on indexing because you guys are probably earning the most money that you've earned in your life now. Okay? And this is the benefit amount that you'll receive at your full retirement age. All right? So we got that PIA, FRA. Okay, key changes. This is the big one. This is the last year that a person born before January 2nd, 1954 can collect 50% of their spouse's or ex-spouse's benefit while allowing their benefit to grow through 2023. Think about that, folks. Okay? That is gone. Okay? So after this year, prior to the end of this year, had a husband file, the wife could file on the husband, get the spousal benefit, and let hers grow for the next few years. It is over. You know how much this costs our federal government? About $9 billion a year. That's it. Why is it gone? We print that money in a month. We send that money overseas. I'm not trying to get political. I'm just being honest, guys. This is our money, man. And it's gone. Let that sink in. Major, major changes. So this is why you got to file optimally. Okay? I'm going to do some math on that so you guys can see how that works. Okay. COLA experienced a significant increase. Again, I shared that with you guys. It was 8.7%. Wait until you see what the real number is. Okay? All right. Other key changes, we'll get into that. The benefit limits, this one here, you can earn an extra $16.80. There's a few of you who called me prior to getting here. Hey, I want to still work. What are the numbers? I can get you guys those thresholds via email. So again, I'll show you that as well. All right, so we're going to look at some scenarios. We're going to run some math. Claiming benefits early versus later. Spousal benefits. Divorce spouse benefits. This is a tricky one. Restricted application, the one that's gone, and survivor benefits. All right. Claiming benefits versus early. Okay, guys, here's the math. You're going to get this slide when you turn that in. So, but everyone pay attention. So, we're using a hypothetical illustration. We're saying that your PIA and FRA is 1,000. Okay? Just for simple terms, for math. Okay? To make the math easy. In this room, like I said, it's about $2,500 to $2,700 is the average in this room. But let's just do this for simple math. If you file 1 year early, you lose 7%. You file 2 years, 13%, 3 years, 20%. And if you file 4 years early, you lose $750. You lose 25%. You're down to $750 for 1,000. Do you see why it's optimal to wait? You guys see that? Okay. Very, very important to understand. So in a perfect world, it's best to wait at least to full retirement age. All right? So what are some of the reasons? You need the money. Okay? All right? So if you guys can jump into your folder here very quickly, on your right-hand side, there's a client story, success story. Okay? It's this guy here, on the right-hand side. There's two stories. We're going to read the one on the bottom, because this is exactly why this works, right? So, Mary, she attended one of our workshops. She was well informed, however, didn't quite understand her FRA. She was in a bit of a financial situation. She had reached 62, right? A lot of folks think, hey, I might as well get it at 62, and was planning on filing for Social Security on her own record. However, after learning about the survivorship benefit for those divorced, she realized that she had a better option. She came into my office, and in our conversation, I found out that she was married for 22 years, divorced for 10, and I explained to her the survivorship benefit, right? Remember, she was coming in, she was getting ready to file because she needed the money at 62, okay? So, her survivorship benefit was $2,200 a month because her husband's 50%, then 100%. It's $26,000 a year. So in those 7 years now that she's going to wait to file on her own, she's going to earn the survivor benefit of $184,000. That was a 15-minute conversation I had with her in my office. I stopped her from filing on her own. She's going to hold off, and she's getting the survivorship benefit. Boom, free money. Okay? That's why some folks will file at 62. Hold off. Let's make sure you're prepared. Then, since she held off on filing hers at 62, she's going to add an additional $1,300 a month, $16,000 a year. If she lives to age 85, that's another $243,000 that she earned by waiting until 70. So what's that total? You take that 184, right, and that 243, look at that number on the bottom. $427,000 by coming to one of these classes and coming into my office. By the way, she did not become a client. I just helped her. Huh?
How old was it?
Husband passed away. The husband,
Oh, he's
yeah, this is survivorship.
Oh,
And I'll get into it,
okay.
yeah. Okay? So again, very, very important to understand when to file. Okay? That's one case. So again, folks say, well, why would you file early? Because a lot of people think you're supposed to file early. Don't. Okay? If you're in poor health, I'll show you some of the math on waiting later. Okay? If you're in less than the annual earnings cap, and if it makes sense for your spouse and children. Okay, so let's look at the reverse. Let's look at holding off and the benefit. Okay? We're using the same hypothetical. It's 1,000, right? If your PIA, full retirement age, is 66. If you wait 1 year, you add an additional 8%. You wait 2 years, that's 16%. And on and on. If you wait the 4th year till 70 and your full retirement age is 66, you add an additional 32% to your benefit. That's for the rest of your life. Right? So, in a perfect world, if I had a crystal ball and I knew you guys are living past 83 and you had the means to hold off on Social Security, I'd say wait until 70. So why is it 83? Because of the math. Because if you die before 83, you're better off filing here because you've missed out on some of the benefits. There's math involved, right? But optimally, I think most of us here are going to live past 83, so it's best for you guys to hold off until 70, if you have the means, right? If the other assets that you have can cover. Can anybody tell me what the actual annual rate of return on the S&P has been since the year 2000 on a buy and hold? Does anybody know?
10%.
5.9%. That doesn't include the last 2 months. Great job. I think I have, oh, I gave you guys a movie, right? Okay. 5.9%. And that's great. If I'm getting 6% on my investments, I'm happy. You hold off 1 year, you're getting 8% every year. That beats the market. Guaranteed. Guaranteed, guys. Think about that. Now, remember COLA, right? Remember the cost of living adjustment. That does not include COLA. So remember that person who waited, who was planning on filing Social Security for 2022 in 2021, but waited that extra year. Got that 8% plus that 8.7%. 16.7% added to the benefit in 1 year. So does it make sense to wait if you can? Yes. So I'll get to a couple questions in a little bit. So again, it's 3% this year, so you're looking at 11% increase. If you have the means, guys, if you have other things in place, you're better off waiting. Again, in a perfect world, right? If you have good health and you know, good genetics. This is why when somebody comes into my office, we talk about their family, we talk about parents, how long have they lived, what's your health like, right? We talk about everything because we want to make sure it's optimal, okay? So again, we shared this with you guys, so let's look at the real graph from beginning to end, right? If you file too early, 4 years early, you're losing 25%. If you wait until 70 and your full retirement age 66, you gain 32%. People look at that as a 57% increase. No. 1320 is 76% more than 750. Now let's do the math. 2,000. Let's say there's 3,000 is your FRA. Let's say it's 4,000. Some of you in here are at 4,000. And every single class that I have, there's at least one person who has the max, which is 4,555. It's a lot of money, guys. That is a lot of money. So let's make sure you have the right plan in place. Okay, so everybody take out that response form, all right? And if you can fill that out, is it a major concern, minor concern, not a concern at all? And I'm not sure. All right. Spousal benefits. We're going to get into some case studies, guys, okay? And those case studies will be in that email when you guys turn in that response form, correct? We're all turning it in? Yes. Awesome. Awesome. So, a non-working spouse will receive 50% of their spouse's PIA benefit if they apply at full retirement age. A spouse can choose to retire at 62, however, their benefit could be reduced by as much as 32.5%. Okay, spouse benefits are gender neutral. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. So spousal benefits don't earn delayed credit. So if you have access to a spousal benefit at full retirement age, you might as well get them if you can. Because going past full retirement age, you get nothing. Okay? The 50%, no, not on, I'll show you in a second. Okay? So again, look at the penalty. That's a bigger penalty for spousal benefits than it is for your own as well. Let's be cognizant of that. I'm going to show you a few case studies here. Okay? So, in most cases, it makes sense for the higher earning spouse to delay benefits to age 70 to secure the maximum benefit, right? So if you do, one of you do, it might as well be the one that the PIA is the lower, because again, math is math. You hold off on the one with the bigger PIA, and you get a higher percentage of the delayed credit and COLA. Okay? All right. Judy's the star of this movie. Judy worked outside the home. Her PIA is 1,000. Jim retires at 66 and claims his PIA benefit of 2,400. At age 62, Judy decides to claim her benefit early. Remember, her full retirement age is 66. So let's calculate her reduced monthly benefit. Her PIA is 1,000, 25% deduction for early filing. So her monthly benefit is 750. Pretty simple, pretty cut and dry. Okay? So let's look at her spousal add-on. So remember, Jim's PIA was 2,400, 50% of that is 1,200. Judy's PIA was 1,000. You subtract that, so Judy's spousal add-on is $200. But wait, remember she filed early, right? So it's reduced by 30% for filing early, so she lost 60. So her spousal add-on is 140. Okay? So you add her benefit, her spousal benefit, and Judy's total monthly benefit. Now, remember, it's reduced. It's $890. It's pretty simple. Okay? So again, the theme that we're going through here, it's always better to wait if we can. Okay? Divorce spouse benefits. Okay? If you're divorced, you can receive benefits based on your ex-spouse's record, even if they have remarried. If you're 62 years of age or older, you are currently unmarried, your marriage lasted 10 years, and the benefit you are entitled to is less than the benefit you would receive based on your ex-spouse. Okay? If your ex-spouse is not claiming benefits, you can still receive benefits if the marriage lasted 10 years and you've been divorced for 2. If you're eligible for retirement benefits on your own record, Social Security Administration will pay that amount first. And if the benefit on your ex-spouse's record is higher, you'll get an additional amount, so the combination of the benefits equal the higher amount. That's their verbiage. Silly. They're going to give you the bigger amount. That's all they needed to say. Okay? So, let's look at Gloria. Gloria and Hank were married for 40 years, divorced for 2 years. Hank is age 62, PIA of 4,000. Remember, not the benefit at 62, at his full retirement age. Gloria was a stay-at-home mom for most of her life, and therefore her PIA is 400. Gloria is unmarried, not working, and decides to claim her benefit at 62. So she's claiming at 62, so there's going to be a reduction. Okay? Gloria's early benefit reduction. You take her $400 PIA, right? You take that 25% for filing early, so she loses $100 of her own. So Gloria's reduced monthly benefit is $300. So let's look at Gloria's spousal add-on. Remember, Hank's PIA is 4,000. So half of that is 2,000. You subtract Gloria's PIA benefit of 400. So Gloria's spousal add-on is $1,600. However, she did it early, so she loses another 480. So Gloria's reduced spousal add-on is 1,120. So you take Gloria's $300 plus the 11 for the spousal, she's at $1,420. Okay? Now we're getting in the weeds a little bit. It's a little bit more complex, right? I don't want to make light of this, but in every class that I get, they're like, man, I divorced my husband. I got that. Should I divorce my husband now? And people get divorced. I had one from my last class. She's like, listen, we're going to do this. I'm like, okay, are you sure my ex-husband's not going to get mad? I said, it doesn't matter. It's a spousal benefit. It doesn't impact. Spousal benefits don't impact the benefit for them. Okay? Just remember that. All right? So it happens. I guess Social Security, it pays to be divorced. All right? So, restricted application, this is the one that's leaving, right? A restricted application claim allows you to collect 50% of your spouse or ex-spouse's benefit while allowing your benefit to grow. Okay? The spouse filing the restricted application must be at full retirement age January 2nd, 1954. So again, that's on its way out. We bring this up to show you guys that you got to be prepared in your retirement because there's going to be some more cuts in Social Security. So be prepared for those, right? Make sure that your outside assets will prepare you for something like that in the event. And again, typically we get grandfathered in when they do these changes. They typically take about 3 years to do, okay? Ex-spousal requirements. The ex-spouse filing the restricted application must be at full retirement age or born before January 2nd, 1954. The ex-spouse was married for at least 10 years, 2 years divorced, and is not remarried. The ex-spouse can file for restricted application regardless of the ex-spouse's claiming status. Again, this is on its way out. Okay? So, for this particular one, it didn't matter if the ex-spouse or the spouse filed. Okay? You can just file it. It was a nice little gesture. Right? For spousal benefits, the spouse has to file for you to get the spousal benefits. I'm going to show you guys here in a second. Okay? So again, there's some confusion here. Alright? Alright, so Harry and Sally are happily married. Right? Harry is 67, full retirement age 66, born before January 2nd, 1954. His PIA is $2,400. Sally's 66, her full retirement age is 66. Her PIA benefit is $1,000. Okay? Sally will first apply for her own benefit, and then Harry will apply for the restricted application and spousal benefit. Half of Sally's benefit. Okay? So meaning the couple has $1,500, right? So let's remember, Sally's PIA is $1,000. Half of that is $500, makes it that $1,500. Okay. Now, Harry's benefit will grow that 8% each year until 70, when Harry's new delayed benefit will be $3,168. You see what it says there? It does not include COLA. Okay. So when Harry claims his benefit at age 70, their new total monthly benefit will be $4,168. So they lose that $500 spousal benefit. Remember, Sally's was $1,000. You add Harry's is $3,168. That's where you get that $4,168. However, again, does not include COLA. Okay? None of these calculations will include COLA here. So you can add another 3% or so. Okay? Alright, so Fran and Max were married for 10 years and divorced for 2 consecutive years. Fran is 67, born January 1st, 1954. Her full retirement age is 66. Her PIA benefit is $1,000. Max is age 62 with his PIA benefit at $2,400. Fran claims 50% of Max's PIA benefit, which makes it $1,200, and lets her own grow until age 70, and switch to her benefit with delay credits to $1,320. Okay? Alright, surviving spousal benefits. Surviving benefit will be based on a higher earning spouse's benefit, including any delayed credits. The spouse need not already apply for surviving spouse to receive the higher benefit. A surviving spouse may claim reduced benefits as early as 60 or 50 if they're disabled and not remarried prior to age 60. If the surviving spouse was married at least 10 years and their ex-spouse dies, they may be entitled to the survivor benefit of the ex-spouse. Again, may be entitled. You got to call. Okay? So a survivor FRA, full retirement age, is entitled to 100% of the deceased worker's benefit. 100%, guys. Including any delayed credits earned by the deceased. Okay. Carrie's survivorship benefit. Doug and Carrie are married. Doug unexpectedly passed away. Carrie, at age 55, meets John. At age 60, Carrie went to claim Doug's benefit, but was disallowed because of her marriage to John. Carrie divorces John and is now able to claim her survivor benefit from previous marriage to Doug. Folks, this really happens. And I don't want to make light of it, but folks do this. They do this. A couple of class. All right. Can we fill that out there? We're in the home stretch here, folks. Potential financial impact of loss of spouse. Alrighty, folks, take this guy out. The same claiming Social Security success stories, okay? Let's look at that top one. This is Lucy. This is from an event in Glenview, I believe. Yeah, she was from Glenview. Okay, she attended one of the educational workshops. After the workshop, she pressed me for a meeting after the workshop. She kept saying, it's incredibly urgent, it's incredibly urgent, and please meet with me. It was incredibly difficult to meet with her because she's a nurse, and she had 2 nursing jobs, right? So we figured, I met her between jobs in the Glenview library. We sat down, and she starts telling me, it's not my fault, it's not my fault, it's not my fault, right? I asked her to explain, and she says to me, I filed for Social Security 2 months ago because I thought I needed to, because she was at full retirement age at that time. And my daughter told me to do it as well. Knowing that she didn't have to file at full retirement age, she didn't know that until she came to the class. This lady earned a substantial amount of money being a nurse with 2 jobs. She didn't need her Social Security, okay? So I told her it's okay. We terminated and suspended her benefit, okay? After the meeting, we took a look at the numbers. If she would have continued at that path, she would have lost $1,096 per month, or $13,152 per year. She lives to 87. That little change, that termination, because she didn't need the money, folks, that added $223,000 in her lifetime benefit if she lives to 87. That 8%, folks. If you don't have to file, don't file. Okay? Again, very, very important to understand when you should file. All right. All right, we're going to start looking at the math on taxes. Okay? COLA, cost of living adjustment, designed to keep up with inflation, tied to CPIW, urban worker. COLA for 2023 was 8.7%. The average monthly benefit increased from $1,681 to $1,827 after COLA for retired workers in 2023. Okay? I told you the COLA number for this month. Social Security benefits are subject to federal tax if income rises above certain thresholds. I'm going to give you those thresholds here shortly. About 40% of Social Security recipients pay federal income tax on a portion of their benefits. In this room, it's 80% of you are paying taxes on your Social Security, on 50 to 85% of your Social Security. So not the entire benefit, but you're still going to pay taxes. In here, it's about 80% of you guys, okay? All right, so how do we calculate? So it's your provisional income. PI is determined to determine whether you will pay taxes on your Social Security benefit or not. So how do we compute provisional income? You take your adjusted gross income before Social Security benefits. You add any interest that you earn. So that's your modified gross income, okay? Plus you add half of your Social Security benefit, and that becomes your provisional income, okay? That's going to be on that slide when you guys turn this in. It's going to be in there, okay? Yeah, shake your heads, guys. This sucks. This sucks. What's wrong with these guys? So here you go. Here are the thresholds, right? So a single earner, if you're less than $25,000, 0% tax. If you earn 25 to 34, 50% of your benefit is taxed. Let that sink in. Okay? Single earner, over 34,000, 85% of your benefit is getting taxed. That's despicable. Married, filing jointly, 32 to 44,000. We're all here. We're all here. At least 50% of that benefit is taxed. And then the big one. That's the big one, right? If you earn over 44,000, 25% of your benefit is taxed. Let that sink in. All right, so we're going to do some math here. So Jennifer Single plans to continue working until 70. She'd like to start claiming Social Security at age 65. Her adjusted gross income before her Social Security benefit is $50,000. So we're going to do some math. Okay. Adjusted gross income is 50. We all know the outcome here, right? She gets interest from municipal bonds, 10,000. That's her modified adjusted gross income. We're adding half her Social Security. It's 10,000. She was at 20,000. That's her provisional income, obviously. She's over that 34,000 as a single person. So her 20,000 in Social Security, 85% of it is going to be taxed at 22%. Yeah. Okay. How taxes could potentially decrease income in retirement. You guys can fill that out. In that tax revenue, that they get from Social Security is paltry compared to some of the stuff that they're paying. I saw some of the numbers, like, what? I thought it was gonna be trillions. Barely a couple $100 billion. Okay, that's what, 3 months of spending here? Ugh. Okay, how not to make claiming mistakes. Application withdrawal. An individual can withdraw the application for benefits only once in a lifetime and must be within 12 months of first claiming benefits. However, you got to file this form, right? And you have to pay back what you received already. Okay? A benefit suspension, this is an option that allows individuals who reach full retirement age to voluntarily suspend but not repay. But you got to be at full retirement age. Okay? So you don't have to pay those back. You can pause it. There's always one or two in the class who've done that. And they call me up and we pause it. Right? Because they didn't realize they're getting that 8% plus COLA. So again, if you're in this particular situation and you don't need the money, pause it. Right? Alright? So again, suspending benefits, earned delayed retirement credits worth the 8%, not including COLA. So it may behoove you, if there's any of you in here who've filed at full retirement age or before and can pay it back, to say, hey, let me suspend this and let me start getting that 8% plus COLA. Okay? All right. Key takeaways. Again, about 30% of retirees, right? Social Security here is about 25%. 9,000 combination, right? That provision is on its way out. Okay? About 40% of Social Security recipients pay federal income tax. You guys are about 80% in here. It's better to optimize Social Security benefit claim initially to try and reverse it, right? If it's before full retirement age, you've got to pay it back. If it's at full retirement age, you don't have to pay it back. Okay? So this is what you guys got to determine going forward, right? What are my estimated benefits, right? When do I need to claim my benefits? Right? What are my spousal considerations? And what maximization strategies apply to my current situation? Number 4 and number 2 kind of go hand in hand, right? Because you look at your entire retirement savings, your retirement strategy, and if you have something in place to help with income now that you need it, or when you do retire, to hold off on filing Social Security, because again, that's 8% plus COLA, okay? So, if you haven't seen what your PIA is, or what full retirement is, set up your account already, all right? That's the website. You set up your account, they'll give you your PIA, so that way, I'm a guy who understands budgeting and income. So when you know the number, and you know your debts, you know your liabilities, and you know the revenue, it's easier to put a strategy together, okay? So knowing that number, right, even if you're in your late 50s, find that number out, right? So now you got a baseline. You know it's going to go up, right? But at least you get an understanding of going forward if you're planning on retiring at 65, 66, or 67, okay? Know that number. Again, folks, this is why I love what I do, right? This is primarily about Social Security, correct, right? Protect the income that you need in retirement, that's Social Security, so that you can help maximize the income for the things that you want in retirement. That's your other assets that you have, okay? So again, we've gone through this, all right, we've gone through this. All right, if you guys can fill that part out as well, financial planning considerations, is it a major concern, minor concern, or no concern at all? We are at the 5-yard line. Okay? How are we on time? Ooh, right on time. Excellent. Okay. So, because of the agreement that I have with this particular group, the Adult Financial Education Services, right? I have my own practice. And again, I'm not selling you anything. I have my own practice. I've got over 1,200 clients in 20 years. I'm very proud of that. Very proud. Okay? So when you hook up with AFES, I have to give something back. So typically, when somebody meets with me, it's a $500 an hour rate that I charge. Okay? I'm worth every penny, guys. Not to be braggadocious. Not one of my clients has lost a penny. It's one of the things I'm incredibly proud of. But with these guys, you guys get a one-on-one strategy session for showing up here. Okay? That you guys don't get charged. It's free, no obligation. Okay? So, in that strategy session, if you guys can bring me your PIA and your FRA, I'm going to run this report for you. This is called a Social Security Optimization Report. It is 29 pages long. And it's going to tell you when you should file, how you should file. It's going to show you Medicare, how that's impacted, and if you've got long-term care, it's going to show you that as well. That is the agreement that I have with these guys, that we'll do that for you. Again, we're not charging you guys for any of that stuff. So in this one-on-one session that you guys get, I'm going to kind of get to know you guys. Real simple. I've done a lot of talking here, man. Right? I'm going to find out what you guys are concerned about. What you guys in Social Security or anything else you guys want to talk about, right? You may ask, what are you going to learn that's new? Most of the stuff that's in here is generic. We used to do a Q&A, guys, at the end, and the stuff that would come out of people's mouths, personal stuff like, whoa, you don't know who's in this room. Keep that stuff to yourself. So we don't do a Q&A. But when you guys come to the office, I'm going to get to know you guys. And we're going to figure out Social Security optimally for you based on what you have. Okay? For your particular situation. If you take that strategy session, how long will it take? 45 minutes to an hour. Right? You've earned it. You came here on a Thursday night, the end of the week. You've earned it. Right? So 45 minutes to an hour. What should I bring? You don't have to bring anything, folks. Now, if you do decide to take up this one-on-one strategy session, you guys are going to turn in that response form at the end, and there's another sheet in there, if you guys can pull that out to the right. It's in the appointment sheet. You just fill that out and say, hey, I want an appointment. They're going to give you a packet with information in there. And in that packet, there's a financial diagnostic. You can fill that out if you want. You can bring whatever you want. We can talk about whatever you guys want, right? So again, you don't have to bring anything. But if you want to maximize that hour with me, you bring some stuff, we could really do some deep diving kind of analysis of where you're at, okay? Will I try and sell you anything, guys? Absolutely not. I don't sell anything. I think you guys kind of get a sense of the approach that I have. I'm professional, but I'm laid back, right? This is my mission, to help folks. That's all I do. I help folks, okay? So again, I won't try and sell you anything. How will you feel when it's over? You'll feel happy. You're proactive. You got a second opinion, right? Very, very important to get a peace of mind for your retirement. You guys came here, obviously, on a Thursday night, right? You guys, most of you haven't eaten. And, you know, all we had is cookies. I used to do these at restaurants, guys. And when we used to feed people, and people would come over and over, and they'd end up coming to others and others, and just keep eating my food. Right? It's like, we used to do it at Lou Malnati's, and I kid you not, guys, I had a guy who came in, he came to 4 of them. And one of them, it was raining like cats and dogs, so very few people showed up, and he had the nerve to ask, hey, can I get 4 of those pizzas? I gave them to him, because what was I going to do with those pizzas? So again, very, very important. I'm not going to sell you anything. You guys are going to feel great with that appointment. Where will we do it? My office. I've got a beautiful office with parking indoors or outdoors if the weather. On Bryn Mawr in Cumberland, the Triangle Plaza. Okay? It's like 10, 15 minutes from here. What will be the next steps after that meeting? That's up to you guys. You guys may say, hey man, that's some great information. I'll get back to you. Some of you will say, hey, you know, help me out with this. I'll help you out. Right? It's all totally up to you guys. Okay? So, again, in that strategy session one-on-one, you get a chance to talk, you learn some new ideas, and you'll get something valuable. That's Social Security Optimization Report. That is absolutely critical for folks. And you'll have an experience, folks, because you're going to get that second opinion. Now, let's take a look at some of these here. I don't have my calendar there. Folks, it doesn't matter. This is how this works. I have to set aside 2 weeks based on Adult Financial Education Services after these events. You guys know I've got another one on Monday. The clock starts on Tuesday. That's 2 weeks. That gets us to the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So I do weekend appointments as well. Saturday, I may do a Sunday afternoon. So whenever you guys want to sit with me in those 2 weeks, you guys have earned that time, even evening appointments, okay? You may want to think about what you heard tonight. Hey, I get it, right? It's a lot of information here. But you guys have already taken the step to come here on a Thursday night. So that obviously you want to be able to fix this, and we commend you, right? Taking your financial future in your hands. Social Security is complex, right? But most of us think that we can call or we can talk to our guys or what have you, right? But you guys came here on a Thursday night. All right, the last guy, that 600-pound gorilla in the corner of the room there, right? I already have an advisor. Of course you do. Most of you do, right? I have 6 friends that are wealth managers, right? We have different approaches. I'm not here to replace your guy or your gal at all, guys. Most of you who don't have advisors in these classes become my clients because they sit in with that one-on-one session, they're like, wow, it's really that simple. Some of you who have advisors, hey, I'm going to take this back to my guy or my gal. Okay, right? But again, I'm not here to replace that person. They've done a great job on accumulation for you guys. There's a difference here. They help get you there. I help get you across the finish line. I am a retirement income specialist. I only deal in income. I don't deal in accumulation. You're at a different game here. And I use this analogy. You got your hip hurts, you go to your general practitioner, right? You go to your doc. But that doc's going to tell you, hey, you need surgery on that hip. You got to go see that specialist. That's me, guys. I'm an income specialist, retirement income specialist. That's all I do. Okay? And I'll end it with this. For the life of me, I don't understand how people would want to climb Mount Everest. For the life of me. People are constantly dying doing it. Right? Do you guys know for every one person who dies on the ascent, 5 people died on the descent? For every one person. Why? Because they get to the top and they let their guard down. Right? They realize, okay, all the work has been done. That's not how retirement works, guys. There's a thing, everybody write this down. Sequence of returns risk. This is very, very important. So if you take a graph, right, and you take a look at a person's income, and let's say it's a 6% annual rate, which is a nice little rate. But if the market tanks 5 years before retirement, at retirement, or 5 years after you start retirement, you guys are in trouble. Very, very important. Okay? Take your retirement seriously. We all know what's happening here. I look at the math all the time. I watch economists all the time. This is what I do for a living. Hard landing, soft landing. Yeah. We've got a problem, guys. And they're not telling us the truth. Right? We saw what would happen 2 years ago. I've had folks come into my office, 3 million, 2 million, 4 million, okay, what do you have now? Yeah. 18% losses in the last year and a half. The bond market stakes, that 60-40 portfolio, that's out the window, guys. That's out the window. Right? Very, very important. You guys should not have your money at risk now. I'm going to tell you like it is. I don't whisper sweet nothings in people's ears. That's not my job. I'm here to protect your guys' money in future for your family. Okay? What they're telling you guys out there, I have 1,200 clients who can attest to this strategy. It's simple. Guarantees, guarantees. Now, I'd love the opportunity to meet with you guys and get to know you and help you tweak something that you may be able to do on your own. But again, the only way you get there is if you take us up on that one-on-one strategy session. So, everybody grab that response form. When you guys are leaving, turn it into Shalane. And those of you who want that one-on-one strategy session, fill out that appointment. I wish you guys the best. You guys have been a great group. And hopefully I'll see you in the office. Have a great night.